Hi guys, it's PK here. Had a few phone calls this week with people who are a little bit scared about jumping into property investment because they think that it's really hard to find tenants. Just wanted to talk about that a little bit. And while in the current environment, it may be a little bit tough to find a new tenant in the scheme of things, and zooming out a little bit and seeing things with perspective, there are some very sure ways to make sure your vacancy rate, that your ability to find tenants is mitigated. So there's really three things that I look at, among other things, but three main things that I look at when trying to make sure that I can find a tenant and that vacancy rate won't be too long. The first one is really assessing what the proportion of investment properties is in the suburb as opposed to owner occupiers. So what you don't want is that the suburb that you choose to buy has 50% investment properties. That's not going to be great because you're competing against all of those other investors, all those other investment properties when it comes to finding someone to rent from you, okay? The other thing to consider as well is what the vacancy rate is. Look, that's pretty obvious. We try to generally say under 2% vacancy rate, the lower the better. So that's the other thing to look at. And the last thing, well, not the last thing, but the other big thing to look at is what's the kind of configuration of the property? What is the kind of property that you're buying? And is it something that's in demand from tenants, right? So if the average tenant in that suburb rents a 3-bedroom house, 2-bathroom, 2-garage, then don't buy a 5-bedroom house, don't buy a 2-bedroom house, right? You're not going to be able to get that rent premium for a 5-bedroom house, and the 2-bedroom house may not be in demand from the average tenant. And equally, things like a flat backyard and things like that are very important as well, so that when tenants think about moving in, they can really see themselves living there with kids and things like that. So those are the three things that I look at. Don't let this fear of vacancy, this fear of not being able to get tenants paralyze your property investment. In the passive scheme of things, where we're not being a developer or things like that, we're relying on capital growth to really accelerate or increase our wealth. The wealth opportunity is hundreds of thousands of dollars over the medium to long term. Not investing because of a fear of a 4-week vacancy, which, by the way, is very rare if you follow these three things, is not the wisest move. So I just wanted to give some context and perspective. Obviously, what I'm talking about here is in the context of a passive strategy, where we're developing and things like that. Things change. All right, well, hopefully that was useful. See you guys.